I'm Paul Ferguson back in the cool 100 Zoom studio with Dan and Shay, superstars. Guys, welcome.
Oh, superstars! That's a nice intro. I feel good, man. We might have to have you intro us everywhere we go. It's good to
Well,
see you, man. It's been too long.
I'll qualify this by saying three-time Grammy Award winners, 13 billion streams, 11 number ones. But today we're here to talk about what I think may very well be the most important work you guys have ever done with the new single.
Oh man, thank you so much. We're really proud of this one, man. We've got to do a lot of cool things in our career, so thank you for listing that stuff off. It's a nice reminder sometimes. Dang, we did that. That's crazy. It's a little out of body experience, but this song is very personal to us. It's a song that we wrote one day. We weren't setting out to write a song like this, but we had a friend, Ben. He took his life a few years ago, and it really shook our world. Here on Music Row. He was really important to us personally and professionally. He was the guy who signed us to our first songwriting deal with Warner Chappell Music, introduced us to our record label, Warner Records Nashville, that we're still with today, and just was a big champion for us as artists. And, we were sitting down to write a song one day, and he was on our hearts. We were talking about him, sharing stories with our friends David and Jimmy, who we wrote the song with, and we just were like, you know what? Let's write about Ben for a sec, And we were halfway through the song, and it was really heavy concept. I'm not gonna lie, it was serious, and I was like, is this a Dan and Shay thing? Like we're usually the guys who write wedding songs about our wives, and it was like, you know what? Even if this doesn't become a Dan and Shay song, like it's in the room today. Let's see it through to the finish line. Let's write it. It's an important message. And I came home that night and played the demo for my wife Abby on my phone, and she was like, wow, that's incredible. That's a beautiful song. That's beautiful that you would have wrote that as a tribute to Ben on his birthday. And I was like, what? Well, we didn't know it was his birthday the day we wrote the song. It would have been his 50th birthday that day. And to me, that's more than coincidence. It was a song that was meant to be written. And that moment I was like, this is a Dan and Shay song. This is more than a Dan and Shay song. This is bigger than Dan and Shay, but this is the first single off of whatever this new project, new era is. And we went in head first at it. Like I said, it's a serious topic, and while the song is heavy, it is optimistic. It's letting you know that no matter what you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone. No matter how dark the day is, the sun is going to rise. There's always somebody there on the other end of the line. And it's not always easy to pick up the phone and ask for help, but if you do, there's always going to be somebody there for you. And the response we've gotten so far from this song is just stellar, man. It's not like, hey guys, I like the song, I listened to it. It's like, Dear Dan and Shay, and it's like a novel of a story. And I think that's like the power of music. When you tap into one like that, it's just it's bigger than us. It's a special thing. So we're grateful this song came into our world, and hope it becomes a big hit, but at the end of the day, more important than that, we hope it can help somebody, and I think it already has, so we're proud of it.
And the title in and of itself, Say So, says so much. And, as much as the song is so powerful, and I'm glad you said this is bigger than just Dan and Shay, the message it transcends artists, it transcends format, the whole thing. Shay, let me turn to you for a moment, because as important as the song is, I believe the video that accompanies the song should be mandatory viewing for everybody. Shay, tell me about it, because you're the star.
Yes, oh man, this was all from the brain of Dan Smyers. He called me one day, and we obviously, when you're a song like this, we knew that this video it was going to be an important one, and I feel like it kind of adds, if done correctly, adds an element, and a layer to really getting people to, this message, and maybe moving them in a way that maybe just hearing the song couldn't do. And I remember Dan, calling me one day, and he's telling me this idea, and we had a bunch of different directors and, kind of visions cast of like what they wanted to do with the music video, and kind of, they pitched us all these ideas, and there was a lot of amazing, very moving things. And Dan had this one idea that he had just kind of talked in his voice notes. His idea was called vandalism, and he basically pitches this entire idea. And when we read that first kind of breakdown, like we were all in tears of just like what a beautiful way to obviously touch on the subject at the beginning of the reality of what some people have gone through, but also have that message of hope at the end. And it's like the video just I can't watch it without crying, and there's like I'm crying in the video, and those were real tears, and it was like just being kind of in that moment just moved me. And I agree with you as far as the song and the video together. It is something special, and we hope that everybody does watch that video, because it's a very moving video, and I didn't have to do anything. They made me look cool. I didn't do anything, but man, it's really crazy to be a part of a song like this is a very rare thing that not a lot of artists get to be a part of. I think depending on what your career has looked like and what song what you sounded like at the beginning or whatever like direction you've gone in. Like we are very lucky that we are able to do a song like this, and we've always kind of done our own thing. We never sit down ever and say like, all right, we're going to write this specific sound. Like we just do whatever we love and what's on our hearts that day and try to write the best song that's in the room. And it's just crazy to be a part of a song like this where you can stand on stage and, I mean, as you can tell, we'll just ramble about this song, and we'll ramble about all this music that we have coming out, because when we sat down to write these songs, those songs happened to us, and it was so easy to pull inspiration off of our real life. It's like, hey, well, what do we write about? Well, it's that. Well, tell me about that. I could go on and tell you about like our lives. It's very easy to write it. We know how to write a song. Writing a good song that is from your heart and drawn from real inspiration, it just really reinvigorated our love for songwriting. Like this little stretch of writing that we did that included Say So and the rest of the songs that we kind of have gathered for this album. And I don't know, it's just I'm more inspired now than I ever have been, even at the beginning of our career. And probably mainly because we've been through a lot. It matters more now. We know that things could get taken away from you very quickly. I think 2020 taught all of us a lot, about how important community is and how important our time with others and making sure that we're checking on our friends and how blessed we all are to get to be in music in any capacity. The fact that this is all of our jobs. It never has to feel like that when you're doing something passionately. And, as you can tell, we can just talk for hours about it, but man, I can't believe we get to do this and to be the ones who, put out a message like this and have it be received in the way that it has been. It's a little overwhelming at times where it's like, man, this is a lot bigger than Dan and Shay. This song was coming out into the world no matter what.
Well, you guys have been pretty open and honest about losing your friend Ben, and I'll be as open and honest with you. The song hit me pretty hard because about a dozen years ago, I lost one of my closest friends as well to a battle with mental health. And so to hear the song, and there's a line in the song in particular, and it was kind of the one that stopped me in my tracks because I've thought about it a lot in regards to my buddy who's been gone for a dozen years. It says, really felt like it came out of nowhere, but it never really comes out of nowhere. And what that said to me is, nobody really knows necessarily how deep the river runs for somebody. And so I think this is a message that we can't get out there enough. The song's called Say So, boys, and congratulations on it. Now, you referenced a couple of seconds ago, Shay, this is kind of the opening, I guess, of another chapter with new music coming out in 2026. And you mentioned a bunch of songs. So what can you tell me about what you got in the hopper coming up this year?
It's a chapter that is absolutely going to bring us to Canada. I know that for a fact. We are making it a point. It has been too long since we've spent time there. We just love it, man. Y'all have been so good to us. And yeah, we've got new music coming very, very soon. We're fired up about Say So being out there. There's the stuff behind it is just as good, just as powerful. And I don't know, I just feel like we're in a really healthy spot in our career. Like our feet are exactly where they're planted. It feels like everything we're putting out is genuine. And I think that's what fans want from us. They don't want us to be frauds on stage. They come to our show because they like us and they want to know what we're going through right now. And I think the artists that do it at the highest level really can tap into that. And it ain't always easy, to do that. You got to really push for it in the room and make sure you're telling your honest truth. If you've got something going on in your life, say so, speak that truth. I think that's really going to translate. But yeah, the stuff we've got coming I think it's our best work yet. We'll let you guys be the judge of that, but it will be very, very soon this year, and there will be lots of shows to happen. Canada is on our list. We've been thinking about y'all, man. You guys are the best.
Right on, boys. I've got you've only got 1 minute left warning already. So, Dan, I'm going to tell you a little story about country radio seminar a few years ago in the Warner Music Monday Mingle. And I was having this great conversation with a gentleman, total stranger, but I'm a social guy. He said, I'm from Kansas City. And I said, oh, you're a radio guy in Kansas City? He said, no, my daughter married Dan Smyers.
Yeah, the guy. He's a legendary radio guy, Hall of Famer. Absolutely. Mike Kennedy, the GOAT. Yeah, absolutely.
He was my new buddy in that moment. I had a great time, and I've never forgot about that all these years later.
That's awesome, man. I'll tell him you brought that up. He's the best. He was just here for CRS this year, so he can't stay away.
I'm sorry I missed him. I was there too. Dan and Shay, congrats on the release of Say So. If nobody does anything else, consume the song, consume the video, please, with it. And guys, where do people find you on social?
DanandShay.com. You can find all the things, all the links. But I think we're at Dan and Shay on all of our handles: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. And if you go to DanandShay.com, you can see all the tour dates that are going to be popping up, and there's links to the video there too. I got to make sure I updated the website before I send everybody there. But I think it's good. I think we're good.
Good stuff. Well, knowing that 2026 is going to include Dan and Shay in Canada, it means I don't have to worry if the Blue Jays break my heart. I know you guys are going to be here to make me feel better.
Hey, we're rooting for them. If my Pirates aren't doing anything, so, we're off to a good start this year, though.
I was at the Pirates the other day, but that's a whole other interview.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we'll bring the music if you bring the golf. You got to show me where to golf up there.
We have a deal. Boys, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul. You're the best,
Thank
man.
you,
we really appreciate you.